from many channels. Many vessels will be channeling this project. This is not an individual project. This is a collective project. This is a new collective project of humanity. Now, what is this project, you ask? What is this project? This project called Project One. This is the first project of many projects that will unfold over the next coming years. These new projects that are unfolding over the next coming years will be proving much to humanity about the existence of the soul, but not only the existence of the soul. It's not only the existence of the soul. It's not only the scientific existence of the soul. It's the scientific explanation to humanity and to all of humanity. That is what will be unfolding over the next coming years, is what is the scientific explanation to humanity and all of humanity. Now, what you need to understand is that this is a multi-layered project, and this is a multi-dimensional project. When we say multi-dimensional project, we mean that this project is energetically coded to be working on all dimensions in all parallel universes at the same time. This is how this project will unfold. Now, what you also have to understand about this project, what is it that it is energetically coded as a project? What you have to understand is that this project, yes, indeed, is a formula. Yes, indeed, is an equation. It's an equation to prove the scientific explanation of humanity. That's what this project will be. And this project will be coming over the next coming years, but it will be coming rapidly and it will be coming fast. It will be coming at an accelerated pace. That's what you have to understand, is that this project will be delivered at an accelerated pace. It will be delivered at an accelerated pace for humanity because, yes, humanity needs it at this time. Now, humanity doesn't need it just to prove the scientific explanation of humanity. That's not the purpose of this project, nor is it the intention of this project. The intention of this project is not just to bridge the gap of science and spirituality. That is not the only intention of this project. This project will deliver so much more, and you cannot actually conceive of what this project will deliver and what this project will bring to humanity right now. Because right now you are held in limitation. Right now you are still in limitation. But as you break away from these patterns of limitation, which you are doing so right now, you will be able to understand the scope of this project in a way that you are not able to understand it right now. Now, the reason why you are not able to understand it right now is, yes, you are held in limitation by your minds. Your minds are currently held in limitation. Right now, you are in the process of accessing your higher selves, or what we refer to as soul intelligence. This is a component of your soul. Yes, it is. It is a component of your higher self. Yes, it is. Now, what you have to understand is that as you begin to access this part of you, this component of you, this soul intelligence within you, which you are all doing so right now. You are all doing the work right now to be able to access this within yourselves. That is not what we are doing. We are not trying to help you access your soul intelligence. This you are already doing. We are showing you what you do once you have accessed your soul intelligence. That's where we are going. We are showing you where you go once you have already accessed your soul intelligence. You have already begun to access this component within you. Now, what you need to understand, the introduction to this that you need to understand, is that to access soul intelligence requires two components. Those components being free will, and the second component being God. Now, what you have to understand about free will and God, what you must begin to understand is that God has always been here and always will be here. God is a fixed variable in this equation. That you must understand. Now, free will, you have to understand, is something that you are given into the physical realm. When you are born into the physical dimension, when you come into the dimension of the physical realm, you are given free will. Free will does not exist on the other dimensions. It only exists in the physical dimension. So when you come in as a human You must use your free will to choose soul intelligence. This is a requirement for this project. This is the introduction to this project. This is just the beginning of this project. To be able to access your free will is something you have not done yet, but it is something you can do in one day. It is something you can do in one day. You do not need to study, you do not need time, and you do not need to evolve to access your free will. It's something you can do today. All you have to do is choose to do it. That's all you need to do is choose to access your free will from this moment forward. Once you choose to access your free will, the acceleration happens at a more rapid pace. The acceleration begins at a more rapid pace. Now, once you begin to access this free will and you begin to finally choose soul intelligence, your soul intelligence can come in and then bridge the gap between science and spirituality. That's what is happening on the planet today. Your soul intelligence is coming in to bridge the gap between science and spirituality. That is what's happening on the planet today. Now you ask, what do I do from this moment forward? What do I do from this moment forward? What you have to understand is that choosing your free will is, yes, the introduction for this project. It is a requirement. It is a prerequisite for this project. Using your free will is the prerequisite. We are not going to teach you how to use your free will. You have to simply do it. Now, what you have to understand is once you have chosen this, and you have begun to access your soul intelligence, where your soul intelligence is taking you, along with doing this work, is to a new frontier. Yes, it is. It's to a new territory where you have not been before, and you do not know what that territory looks like. This is a new place for civilization. This is a new place for humanity. You have not been here before, so you do not know what it looks like. You do not know what it looks like. So what you have to begin to understand, is that this new frontier that you are embarking upon, this new territory that you are embarking upon, is a new place for humanity, and that may seem scary. As you see the world melting, all you are watching is not the world melting. You do not need to be frightened by the world melting, because all that is melting is the physical dimension. That is all that is melting. Along with that is the melting of your identity as you know it. And you will literally feel this as a melting, as an actual melting. Now, all that is melting is the physical dimension. And how this is happening is through the cells that are living inside of you. The cells that are living inside of you. What you need to know about the cells that are living inside of you is that the consistency of the cells are actually becoming lighter. The consistency of the cells are actually becoming lighter. And as the consistency of your cells become lighter, you are able to access other dimensions in an easier way. And you all understand this. You all know that this is happening in one way or another. This is happening in one way or another. As you are vibrating at a less dense rate, what you can begin to understand is that you are beginning to access a higher dimension. So you're watching the physical world melt away, and you're also scared of the physical world melting away, but all you need to understand is it's just the physical dimension that you're watching melt away. What's happening right now is you are assimilating. You are assimilating to a multidimensional universe, and you are assimilating to a multidimensional human being. That's what you are doing. You are all evolving to become multidimensional human beings. That's what you are all doing. You are evolving to the next phase of humanity, and in order to evolve to the next phase of humanity, you need to know that you are evolving into a multidimensional human being. Now, what is the multidimensional human being, you ask? What is that, and what does it look like? What you have to understand is that your soul is always existing as a multidimensional component within you. Your soul is always existing as a multidimensional component within you. Now there are the gifts of humanity, and those gifts will never be taken away from you. As the physical dimension melts away, the gifts of humanity will never be taken away. They will always be the gifts of humanity. This is the gift of creation. But what you have to understand is that as you evolve into a multidimensional human being, which you already are a multidimensional human being, you already are this multidimensional human being. What you must understand is that as you begin to access this component within you, as you begin to access this within you, you will access unlimited resources within you. And those unlimited resources within you are what you need to move forward. Those unlimited resources within you are what you need to move forward. This is how humanity is moving forward. This is the progression of humanity. Now back to Project One, because this is the project at hand. This is the project that will be unfolding over the next year. This project will be unfolding at a rapid pace. And this project, Project One, again, will be coming through many channels and many vessels. This will not be the only channel. This will not be the only vessel. It is important that you know that this is a collective project. This is a collective project of humanity, and this is needed. It is actually more than needed. It is necessary right now for you to go where you are going. As a species, it is necessary for you to be able to go where you are going as a species. Now, what you need to understand about Project One, all you need to walk away and understand about Project One tonight is that one, you must be able to begin to use your free will to be able to even begin this project. That is necessary. That is the first step, to be able to use your free will to even begin to do this project. That is your first step. Now, what you can also begin to understand about this project is that this project, again, is a multi-layered, multi-dimensional project. This means that there are many components to this project. But what this project will be doing, will be showing you with your soul intelligence, once you've accessed your soul intelligence, is the resonances that live within you. The resonances that live within you, these resonances are the energetic frequencies that you consist of. Now these frequencies, these resonances, there are infinite resonances, and the resonances are made of chords. These chords are infinite. What you have to understand, what you have to begin to understand is that these resonances are actually coded. There are codes to these resonances, and what you can begin to understand about the codes to these resonances is that you can, with the use of your soul intelligence, access these codes to the resonances to be able to alter and shift the resonances within you. Now you say, this sounds very abstract. I don't even understand. But what you have to understand, and all you need to understand right now, is that you as the human species has the ability to shift the resonances within you. You have the ability to do this yourselves. You have not known that you have this ability. You have the actual ability to access cellular data that lives within your cells. And this cellular data is what makes up the resonance. This is what this project will begin to do at first, is begin to show you this. The resonances The resonances are so important because right now humanity has distorted resonances within them. What this project will do is begin to make these resonances whole again, but you will be the ones to do it. Nobody else. No higher power other than you through free will and God. We will simply show you how, but you must be the ones to do it. Humanity must save itself. Nobody is going to come and save you. You must save yourselves. And it's time that you finally understand this, that you must save yourselves. And the only way you can save yourselves is by first using your free will to access your soul intelligence. When your soul intelligence comes in, it will lead you to show you what is beyond conception of your human mind. And we will begin with showing you about the resonances within you, the many, many, many resonances within humanity, and the many chords that make up these resonances. This will be just the beginning. This is the tip of the iceberg for humanity. This is the beginning. Don't feel that this is the end. This is not the end. You do not need to worry. This is not the end for humanity. Rather, this is the beginning. And when you leave here tonight, and when you look at the world around you in distraught, what you can know, rather than saying, we are in chaos, rather say, we are just beginning. That is what you can begin to say from this moment forward. We are just beginning.
Are you available to take questions?
Yeah.
I have a question for, can you actually turn off the music for me? Thank you. I have a question for the forces. Who are you, and how are we to understand how you are working through Allie?
What you need to understand about the forces of higher consciousness is that this is much simpler than what it sounds like it is. This is what you need to begin to understand. What the forces are an actual energetic force. That's what this is, an energetic movement, moving through a collective consciousness. Now, this collective consciousness, what you need to understand about the collective consciousness is that this is a collective consciousness of the multiple universe, meaning all universes. This is not a collective consciousness of humanity. Rather, this is a collective consciousness of the multiple universe. And what you have to understand about collective consciousness is that all that it is simple consciousness that comes together to form one big consciousness. That's all that it is. You have collective consciousness in all that you do. Everything that you do, wherever there is a collective group, there is a collective consciousness. Where there is a school, there is a collective consciousness. Where there is a workplace, there is a collective consciousness. Where there is a country, there is a collective consciousness. But what you have to understand about this collective consciousness, the energetic force that is working with this through the channel is that this is nothing but a force, an energetic force working through the channel as a collective consciousness. That's all that this is. Now, how does collective consciousness work through channeling? This is something that requires one thing only, and that is trust. That is all that is trust and the ability to sustain energy. Now, what you have to understand about the ability to sustain energy is that every person here has the ability to sustain energy. Every single person here has that ability. What you do not have is the trust, and that is what you can have. But again, you have to use your free will. That's all that is required, is your free will to be able to trust the energy. That is all that this is, and that is how the channel works.
Is there someone here who has a sense that the question they have for this force will really benefit the room to hear the answer to? All right, Alan?
You've been talking about Project One and sort of around it. Could you give us a sense of substance of it?
What you need to understand about Project One and the substance of Project One, you want to understand what the actual content is of Project One. This is what you want to understand. Yes. What you need to understand is that Project One is a formula. It is an actual equation that will be laid out. The equation will be a multidimensional equation. Yes, it will be. And the equation will be laid out for you. Now, we will not give you the whole equation at once. Rather, the equation needs to come out step by step. Step by step. It is component by component because, again, this equation is rather large. This is an equation that is energetically coded. But what you can understand about Project One is that it is an actual equation, and the project itself is, yes, a scientific project. Yes, this is a scientific project. Now, the scientific project, what you need to understand about the scientific project is that not only the channel is the living data for this scientific project, but all of you are also the living data. And as you come together in records, as you bring together your data, to be able to show that this data exists, that this data is proving you are the living proof of the data that will show not only the existence of soul intelligence, but what soul intelligence can do, what all the soul intelligence can do within each and every single person. That is what Project One is doing.
Do you have another question in you, or would you prefer to come back to us?
I'll go.
Okay, well, welcome back.
Thanks. Okay, wow.
I feel like offering you an applause for that.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll use my microphone now. So that's like really trippy, guys. Is this too loud? Is everybody okay? Okay. So anyways, yeah, that is like a really trippy thing. So I guess I'll tell you, David introduced me in the beginning, and I was kind of half listening, half bringing in the energy. And the energy, it's all about getting out of the way, right? So the energy's like, stop listening, like just get out of the way. You're just worried about what he's gonna say, like just stop. But anyways, so I am, yes, a very normal person. I'm a mom. I have a toddler, a 2-year-old, and a husband, and I think I'm normal, but I always say my husband would probably dispute that. But so yeah, this is a new energy coming through. I have been channeling for 1.5 years. But this energy actually just started coming through in the past few weeks rather unexpectedly. I certainly did not know that this was going to happen, but it's so strong that it's pretty much undeniable. And I'm right now in the process of dictation, and I'm dictating this project right now every day. So that's that. This is sort of like the debut, I guess. I could call this the debut of Project One, right? The debut of the forces. So that's where I'm at with my channeling. Now, what we're going to do tonight, we are going to do some one-on-one readings, because I do intuitive work as well. I do one-on-one intuitive work. Actually, that's the bulk of what I do for this last year and a half. And so we're going to be doing some one-on-one readings. But first, before we do that, I just want to ask if there's any questions for me about this work, or about what I do, or about anything that you've heard tonight. Yeah.
So is this related to what I know as the Gaia Matrix? Can you connect with that?
I have no idea.
Well, energetically, can you connect to that?
Oh gosh, I let that go. You were supposed to ask him that. No.
Okay.
Let me see. The Gaia Matrix. Okay. Well, I have to totally reconnect again.
Okay.
Are you sure you want to do that?
And you know what? Let me just see if there's any other questions, and then we'll come back. Okay. Any other questions about this process, or channeling, or me, or what I do? Yeah.
How did you know, like, the channel was like that you were beginning to channel? Because I've known you for a while, and
Yeah.
and I know your journey. And
Yeah.
so this is new for me in experiencing this with you. So when this came through, how did you know, like, oh shit, I'm channeling?
Well, okay, so two things. One is like when I first started channeling, which I was channeling, I like to call it wisdom channeling, which is just channeling from this higher dimension. There's this infinite, I call it this infinite pool or well of wisdom, and the wisdom is just extracted through my crown and out my mouth. And that's what I've been doing for the past year and a half. And I didn't know I could channel, nor did I ever want to channel, nor did I ever even consider it in my wheelhouse. What happened was I was meditating once with my dearest and closest friend, alone, and the energy got really, really high, which we were used to that. I mean, I had like a pretty intense awakening. So we were used to that. But then as we were meditating, about midway through, she said, you need to speak. Like, whatever needs to come through, you just have to start speaking. And she was intuitively guided, and so I just let it, said the first words, and then it just was like projectile consciousness, like, coming out. And from that moment on, it just unfolded from there. What it really is it's jumping off the diving board. I say this to people a lot. What channeling is, it's so many people have done it throughout history. I like to compare channeling with great musicians. Musicians that have no idea what they're gonna play. They don't have any sheet music. They get up on a stage in front of a ton of people and they start playing, and the end result is a song. They're channeling when they're doing that. They're channeling their own creative genius, but they're getting out of the way for that creative genius to come through them, and they're taking that dive into the unknown of not knowing what's gonna happen. And that's when creativity can flourish, is when we can actually dive into that fear. And that's how this works. Now there's different levels, right? There's different levels as you expand and you become more comfortable with it. Who knows what you'll start channeling, but there's all different kinds of forms that channeling can happen in as well. When I started channeling this a few weeks ago, it was just, it just sort of took over, and it came through, and I heard the same thing that I heard in my awakening, speak, 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 and I spoke, and it immediately said, this is going to be Project One, and you begin to take dictation every day. And as I take dictation every day, there's a new component that is delivered, and it's just mind-blowing stuff that I've never heard before. And so you have to begin to trust the information coming through you. You have to trust the energy coming through you, and you have to trust yourself as the container of the energy. That's another big thing that a lot of us, we're scared that, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get it wrong, or what if this is my ego? And that's good. I mean, it's good that you're scared of that, but you have to be able to trust yourself to fully let go and be the container and the deliverer of the message or of the information that's coming through you.
Do you know how long this project's supposed to go for you, with you?
So on the initial day, they said 3 months. It's happening very rapidly. So then I don't know what that entails after that. I have no idea.
Just want to say that I appreciate your beautiful voice, your work, you giving that.
Oh,
I'm
thank
also a
you.
medium like you.
Oh, great.
Similar story.
Uh-huh.
We can talk after, but just want
Oh,
to know to have another person.
oh, thank you. Thank you for coming. Yes?
For the everyday person, is there something that you can recommend of how we can plug in so we could kind of cut through the noise as well?
To plug into channeling, it's funny. So, for the everyday person, it depends on what you do in your life. For an artist, it's different than for, a doctor. But basically, what I would say is whatever it is that is your passion, rather than focusing on it being a spiritual experience, focus it on being an experience of what you love. Because when you do that, then that allows for the creativity to come through. You have a creative genius. So what you have to do is dive into not knowing what you're going to do. That's the trick. And that's scary. It's scary to dive into not knowing what you're going to do. It's frightening, but you have to make peace with that. You just have to say, okay, I'm really uncomfortable right now, but I just have to be okay with being uncomfortable. And that's all that it is. That is the biggest trick with channeling, is being comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's really it right there. Yeah,
Would you say that's the message? I mean, you speak of Project One,
yeah,
you speak of your awakening.
yes.
Would you feel that we are in a time in humanity's existence that the world is becoming more awakened and enlightened, and the universe is looking for vehicles like yourself, channels like yourself, to get the word out there? You spoke
Yeah,
about
yeah, absolutely.
humanity's purpose and free will and God. Do you think that's what Project One is finding transmitters to get the word out? What would you say
Well,
that the message is
What's the message of Project One?
from the higher consciousness? You call your guides. I know Isa talks about her guides. You call it. What is the message that we are being sent, and what is the work that needs to be done?
Well, okay, so I mean, I'm like a passerby when I'm channeling. I'm like an observer of the whole process. But I also can feel a lot as I'm channeling as well. So it's just like this multi-sensory experience. But basically, that's a very complicated, there's many answers to that question. So the work, what I am getting is that we have to begin to use our free will. That's the first step. That's the prerequisite. This energy is saying that it's not taking you to show you how to use your free will or how to access your higher self. This is what you do once you've already accessed your higher self. Now, where this is going is a very scientific explanation of the consistency of our souls and our multidimensional human being. It's what our cells are. It's going into a deeper explanation of what our cells are in the multidimensional universe. Now, why is it going into that? The project hasn't been fully delivered, so I can tell you what I've gotten so far, and what I'm getting so far is that why it is going here is because it's what's needed. We actually have the ability, humans will have the ability to alter our cellular data, the data within our cells, to be able to, yes, exactly. So what came through in one of the channelings is that right now we go to a lot of, there are people that are able to do this. There are actually energy workers and energy transmitters that you go into like an energy healing workshop and you can feel the energy shifting within your physical body. And that's what's happening. But what is the issue is you might not be using your free will to actually choose this. So you go into the workshop, the energy worker works, they're trying to shift your cellular data, but your free will isn't actually saying yes. Even though you may be thinking that you're saying yes, you're not actually saying yes, okay? So this is the thing about free will that's a little tricky. Free will does not work when you just use it like for this project. You have to use it like every minute of every day. You have to choose love and choose God every minute of every day. That's how it works. Then you begin to access your higher self, and or what my forces call soul intelligence. That's the terminology that they use, is soul intelligence. So you have to be able to use your free will like 24 hours a day. It's not something that you say, okay, I want to do this project, but then you're going to go out and you're going to go to the gas station and you're going to get like annoyed at everybody and this and that, but I'm going to do this project. It doesn't work like that. Like, you have to use it all the time. So that's the trick about free will. And the energy that I'm working with doesn't really care to like go into explanation about that, because it wants you to sort of just like get that. Like it's like okay, it's time. They can get this. It's time. Now we have to go to the next level.
Wouldn't you say that's, you mentioned the term science, wouldn't you say that science seeks validation?
Yes. So
Whereas
that's the other thing that
spirituality through faith doesn't necessitate validation. It knows truth through understanding of God and Christ consciousness or soul consciousness.
Yes. So that is where this is going to bridge the gap. Now we can only bridge the gap with soul intelligence. That's the only way. We don't know what that looks like. We could sit here and talk about it all night long. We could analyze it all night long, but we haven't been there. And I trust that. I trust that we're going into a new frontier that we don't really understand. That's going into the unknown, and that's where we're going. And you just have to trust that.
So when you say,
You're welcome, thank you.
when you say free will, then you just explained it further. The free will is that we have to choose love every moment. Is that what they mean by free will? Not will I go down that or buy that pair of shoes, or that's not free will.
Oh yeah.
Free
Yeah.
will is choosing love every moment.
Yes.
Is that what you mean?
Yes.
You mean?
Yes.
Okay, I get it.
Mhm.
I didn't realize that piece of free will. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? We're good? Okay. Okay, I think we'll go into our one-on-ones then. So who would like a one-on-one reading? Who's gonna be, are there any brave souls that wanna come up here and do a one-on-one reading? I know I was never that person. Come on up.
Do I just sit here?
Yeah. Okay, what's your name?
Crystal?
And what's your last name?
Katara?
Crystal Katara. Yeah. Okay, so give me a minute here because I have to switch gears so everybody can just sort of chill out a little bit. Crystal Katara. Okay. Okay, hold on. Boy, you are like really seriously. Have you had an awakening? Because you are very you're high. You're like super high. But we'll go into that in a second. Hold on. Yeah, so this is the thing, is you have
you have a purpose, okay, and it's a different purpose than maybe what you even realize, but it's definitely, hold on, I'm gonna put my microphone down for a second. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so this Crystal, so you have a purpose that I don't even know if you realize that you have this purpose yet, but it's definitely a purpose of higher consciousness, okay? It's definitely, you have a purpose to be doing this line of work, and I don't know if you know that, or maybe you're beginning to tap into it, but I can immediately begin to sense that you're moving into this kind of work. You're moving into more of this consciousness work. Now, what I'm feeling is that you're already opening up to sort of these abilities within you, actually. You have these sort of experiences that you're already sort of sensing and you're knowing. And it's kind of like these intuitive hits that you're getting, and also dream stuff, and it's opening, like the sensories are opening within you. But what I'm getting is that you're actually going to be fully moving into this kind of work. It feels like you have a really super high path. Now hold on. Okay, so this is also coming from a very, I would call it like a solid foundation through your mother's lineage. Your mother's lineage. So meaning that your mother herself is she's solid, like she's strong in who she is. She knows who she is in the world, and I feel like she's a woman of faith. She's like a woman. She's got a strong heart. You know what I mean? Like she's able to walk the walk. You know what I mean? Like, what's her name?
Bernadette.
Bernadette what?
Bernadette.
Bernadette. What's the
Like Bernadette, but
Bernadette.
yeah.
What's the last name?
Same as mine, but
Bernadette Katara.
yeah.
Yeah, she's got a really strong. So what I'm feeling like is that this path of sort of, it's not just a path of higher consciousness. It's a path that you're going to be doing this as your line of work. That's what I'm trying to say, is that you are going to be doing this as your line of work, and this is stemming from your mother's lineage. That's what I'm feeling like. I feel like she's contributing, she's giving you the foundation to be able to do this. Now the work specifically that you're going to be doing, I can't quite foresee what that is going to be exactly, but I know that it's something that you need to start using now. It's something that you should start using today, like right away. Don't wait any longer. I feel like you're sort of doubting it a little bit, and you're kind of like, I don't really know. But don't wait any longer. You can start doing it now. Okay?
Yeah.
Does that kind of help you a little bit?
Yeah, that helps a lot.
Okay, good.
That's very good to know. 'Cause, yeah, I just recently started like this whole new thing, like literally a couple weeks ago, and
Great.
yeah, it's been kind of like
And
up in the air.
no, don't doubt it.
Okay.
Trust it. You're doing the right thing, and I feel like it's strongly calling you.
I feel like that too, so that's good.
Yeah, that's why I'm here, is to like dissipate fear energy around her. That's all I do. That's what I do, is dissipate any kind of fear energy. So, okay?
Thank you. So
Thank
much.
you. Okay, gosh, it's so hard to see. Oh wait, hold on. No, I don't want to do you yet because you're a medium. So I just don't want any kind of tricky things happening. Gosh, it's so hard to see. No, I think I know you. I don't want to do anybody that I know. Do I know you back there?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, come on up. I told them that I liked the room really dark, and they kept saying, Allie, this is really, really dark. Like, it's gonna look like an empty room soon. And I'm like, no, but you don't get it. I need it really, really dark. And David's like, Allie, that's just because you don't want anybody to see you channeling. So just relax, we're gonna be fine. And now I can't see anybody. What's your full name?
Cheryl Miller.
Cheryl Miller. Okay, hold on. Give me a couple minutes here.
gosh, okay. You have more of this very sort of, it's not, I wouldn't say it, sometimes I have a hard time coming up with the vocabulary, but it's not lighthearted, but it's definitely funny. And it's humorous. Like you have this very like humorous, like you use humor in your everyday life. It's not though that it's like light humor. It's I don't know how to describe it exactly, but it's definitely like this, you're very real. Like you're very real. Do you know what I mean? Like you're very like, this is reality, folks. You know, that kind of like, this is where we're at, okay? Come on. Like that's sort of your humor that you approach life with. Okay, so hold on. Let's see what you need to focus on. So it feels like, okay, so it feels kind of like you're moving into this sort of different phase in your life, and it feels like another chapter kind of beginning. And what this chapter is, it feels like you kind of had like this, it feels like you've already had this whole life, and now you're sort of beginning like a new you kind of thing. But
So true.
and it's kind of like a new independent you know what I mean? Like without all the family and stuff like that, it's more like you're emerging into your own being. Do you know what I mean? It's like you're not having to like care for anything or take care of anything. It's like now you can finally focus on you. Do you know
That's
what I'm saying?
what I wanted to.
That's what I'm feeling. It's like now it's like, okay, I can finally like put myself first and kind of like emerge as my own person in the world rather than the person that's taking care of everybody else and everything else and like running around. And you feel very like in the past you were always quick, fast, funny, like on the go, like you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Now that's shifting, it's changing. So hold on. Okay. So, okay. So how this is shifting and changing. How this is shifting and changing. Have you done any kind of what I'm feeling like you need to get back to is some kind of actual creative work. And it feels more actually, it's kind of funny. It's funny because when you first sat down, I didn't feel that this was performance driven, but I actually feel some more performance driven creative work that you are going to want to go back to. It feels like something you were doing when you were young that now you can recircle back to. Now this creative work, now there's also some writing as well in it is too. I feel like writing coming into it as well. Now the writing itself, I don't know what kind of writing it is. But definitely moving back into that creative outlet. So this creative outlet that you're going into right now in this new chapter of your life as the new Cheryl Miller coming out in the world without all the family and all the responsibilities and being bogged down by the daily stresses of life. Now you're in this sort of like empty nester seat. It's kind of like, now I'm in this empty nester seat and I can begin to do something that I never really got to do before, and that's this creative work. Now what you have to begin to do as you begin to access this creative work, what you have to begin to do is to begin actually the process of automated writing. Have you ever done automated writing?
A long time ago I did.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. So, because I was seeing that you had to go back to doing what you were doing before. So this automated writing is what I'm feeling like it is. This automated writing, we just have to start doing it. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I mean, yes. Yeah.
So
yeah.
this,
It's surprising, but yes.
yeah. So because back to when before you got bogged with all of the in between. Not that the in between was bad.
Right.
It's not bad. It's just
Took
that
me out of myself.
it took you out of yourself. Now you're going back to before that phase and going into what you were when you were fully creative. Does that make sense
Yeah,
to
more
you?
aligned. Yes, yeah.
Okay, I hope that helps.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Okay, who else? Okay, you wanna come up here? I can actually see you. Okay, what's your full name?
Jason Rueda.
Jason what?
Rueda.
How do you spell that?
R-U-E-D-A.
R-U-E-D-A? Rueda? Okay, Jason. Jason Rueda. Okay. Oh, sorry. Jason Rueda. Hold on one second. Okay, so this is the thing that I'm getting from you. You come from you have strong family ethics. Like it feels like you have a very strong core family. Like family is like it. You know what I mean? It's like that is your spiritual zone, is your family. You know what I mean? It's like, but this is the thing. There's something. It's like you come from this really solid family core value, but like it's not. It's like there's something where you're going, where you need to go back into that core family value, and I feel like there's a family emergence happening that you're sort of holding back from. That's what it feels like. It feels like you are needing your life trajectory is to have like a big family. Feels like to have a big family. That's going to be important for your life trajectory. Do you know what I'm saying? Like your life is about having family, but you're actually resisting this process for some reason. And the thing is family so important to you. Do you know what I mean? Like yeah, so it's like it feels like there's like a lack of maybe there's a fear. There's a fear of being able to really go into that place of having the family. I feel like you're scared that you're gonna have like this family and it's gonna be all wrong or something. It's not gonna like live up to your expectations of what family really is. So what you have to begin to do is begin to trust yourself with these choices. Because right now you're scared that you're gonna make a mistake. That's what I feel like. And later on you're gonna look back and you're gonna say, oh, I did this all wrong. You know what I mean? Like you're afraid that you're gonna fail at family when you have this like great family sort of concept in you grew up with this great core value of families and you feel like you're gonna fail. But what you have to realize is you're not going to fail. You're not going to fail. So you can trust this new, these choices. I'm not getting so specific because we're in front of a group of people, but yet I know you know what I'm saying. These choices that you have to make with regards to family and having a family, you can begin to trust those choices within yourself. You don't have to be scared of those choices anymore. Do you know what I mean? I know you do. I know you do. So that's all I'm going to tell you right now is that you can begin to trust where you're at and these choices that you have to make and stop being scared of them. Okay? Okay? All right. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Jeez Louise. I am not used to this. Okay. I can't see again. I just don't know. I just want to. Do I know you?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Come on up then. your full name?
My full name is Tess Chilton.
Tess what?
Chilton, Chilto.
Tess Chilton? Okay, give me a second. Did you do any kind of, feels like you were very active when you were younger, like very, when you were younger, you were just active, right? You were like high energy, very active, super enthusiastic, it just feels like you were really outgoing, you had like everything kind of going for you. So hold on, let me just. So you're kind of in this like, you're kind of in this like phase in your life where everything's actually up in the air. Like everything, your work, your relationships, like you're kind of in this sort of, you don't really know what's gonna happen. You're kind of, it's all new to you right now. So hold on. But I feel like your relationship is gonna be very important for you. Now it feels like this is going to be something very important for you this next coming year is your actual relationship life. Now why is this going to be important for you? Well, this is something that I feel like you're actually really wanting. Okay, but hold on. Let me just get to the deeper, like I'm trying to get to the deeper message of it. But I feel like it's something you're really wanting right now. And it's coming. I feel like it's coming for you. I feel like it's gonna happen for you. But hold on. Yeah, I feel like this is gonna be a big focus. I think the reason why I feel like it's gonna be a big focus for you is because there's going to be a new relationship emerging for you. That's why I'm feeling like it's gonna be such a big focus for you this year. But hold on. I don't like to do like psychic stuff, like to foresee things, because consciousness is always evolving, right? Like there's nothing that's like so predestined, but yet what? Sometimes I can feel energy in people's fields, so I can feel like this energy is sort of coming in, and that means it's like really starting to percolate. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm saying this to you right now, is because it feels like there's something really beginning to percolate for you, relationship-wise, and it feels like there's a new relationship beginning to emerge. And I feel like it's going to be something very strong, and that it's going to sort of dominate everything else in your life. Like everything else is going to take a backseat. You know what I mean? Now, hold on, Tess Chilton, right?
Yes.
I think that this is just where you need to be right now. I don't think that there's anything deeper than that, actually. Like, I think it's actually very simple. I think that it's very sweet too. I feel like that this new relationship that's coming on the horizon, that's percolating for you, is going to be like the dominant area of your life. And I feel like it's just that. It's that complicated. Like, I don't feel like any kind of big issues that you need to go through or work through or anything like that right now. You know what I mean? I feel like this is it. Like, this will bring a new set of experiences to you, and then from there, it'll be a totally different landscape.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Geez. Okay. Okay. Glasses and hat.
Sure.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you? Yeah, of course. What's your full name?
John Cervedio.
John what?
Cervedio.
Cervedio? Okay. John Cervedio. Okay, hold on. Let me just go into this here for a second. very interesting family dynamic, it feels. It feels like your family, there was like a lot of, not like trauma or anything like that, but it feels like there were some issues, I would say. Disagreements. We'll leave it at that. Like disagreements. And it also feels like there was some disagreements between you and your family. It feels like there was a disapproval almost. Like sort of like just some there's like a lack of acceptance, I feel, overall in the whole family. There's a lack of acceptance. Now, what's your mother's name?
Jennifer
Jennifer
Smith.
Smith. Okay. And what's your father's name?
Leonardo
Leonardo
Servideo.
Servideo. Okay. Yeah, so he comes. It's funny, he feels very different than you. He feels like very just different altogether, like a totally different kind of energy. And I'm not saying that there's like, I'm not saying he's disapproving or anything like that. I'm just feeling like you're just different than what he is. You know what I mean? And there's just, you're just different than how your family was raised. And there was also like this family conflict thing happening as well. But hold on, let me go into this deeper, okay? Yeah, so, okay. Now this is for you about sort of breaking away and like finding your own place in the world, separate than your family. And I feel like that's been kind of like this difficult process for you over time. It feels like this process that's kind of been sort of, what's the word? It's like you have some slight hints of guilt about it, like of sort of being your own person in the world and separating yourself from your family. When I say the word separating, I don't necessarily mean like literal separation. I mean that you're just different. Do you know what I mean? Like there's just this, yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So these hints of like guilt or whatever, it's not overwhelming because I don't even know if you're totally conscious of it, but it's in there. Does that make sense
Yeah,
to you?
it does.
So what you need, the only thing that I need to say tonight is that what you need to know is that you're going through this process for a reason. This process that you're going through, and you have to trust it. It's not always going to look like this. It's going to shift radically. The family dynamic is going to shift radically for you. Your whole family is going to shift radically. You're actually sort of a catalyst in that process. That's what it feels like, is you're a catalyst in this process. But it's happening over a course of a long period of time. Do you know what I mean? So what you have to do is, rather than feeling any kind of like those slight hints of like, did I disappoint or did I, anything like that, rather be like really proud of it because it's actually the catalyst of change. Do you know what I mean? Okay. Thank you. Okay. I think that, yeah, we have to end. I don't have any time to do any more one-on-ones, but we have several. Well, first of all, any questions outside of one-on-ones? Any questions? Any questions? Yeah?
How do you define trust?
How do you find trust?
How do you define trust?
Oh, how do I define trust? Surrendering. It's an inner experience that can't actually even be defined in words. It's a process that you go through inside of you of full surrendering whatever it is that you have to trust, whether it's yourself or anything else. So it's not even something that can be put into like an actual definition. Rather, it's an inner experience. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The next time you're challenged to trust something, just meditate on it for like a minute and just say, okay, I'm being challenged to trust this. This means I just need to let go and surrender. You know what I mean? Okay.
Anything else? Yeah.
I'm curious about the project part of the evening, like,
Yeah.
I'm not sure what to do with that
Right.
information. Like,
Right.
yeah.
Well, so basically, going back to that is basically the only thing that you have to do right now is to begin to access your free will and to begin to consciously access your free will all the time, 24 hours a day. And then with that, the next step will come. That's all that really it needs to happen. Like tonight was sort of like an introduction or like a debut, and all they said was, this is a prerequisite for this work is to begin to use your free will, and that's all that really needs to happen right now. And that's pretty much it. So we have some announcements. I just want to say really quickly, David and I both do one-on-ones. If you are interested in our one-on-ones, I have a card with my information. David can share his information, but I just wanted to say that first, and then why don't we tell them about some of the stuff? Do you want to tell them about November 21st? Or Mexico, I don't care, wherever you go from there, I don't care.
We're doing an event together on November 21st in Rhinebeck. You can find it on either of our websites, and the event is called Unlock Your Superpower, and you'll see some more of Allie in action, and you'll see me in action, and then we'll invite you to find your own version of action. So it'll be a discovery of how we discover our super gifts. And then you have an event
December 11th.
December 11th.
Yeah, in the city at 3 Jewels. So if you're interested, all the information will be on my website. And then, you want to tell them about Mexico?
Yes, and then I have an event actually on Saturday at COSM, which is about an hour north, called Empathy and the Art of Deep Listening. If you're curious about that, ask me. And then we have an event together in Mexico in the middle of March.
It's actually for spring equinox.
For spring equinox, also called Unlock Your Superpower. So that's our emergent shared theme.
Yeah.
For 4 days in San Miguel de Allende, where you'll get to work with both of us together individually, and over a course of a few days, whatever your natural gift is, we promise it will start to emerge, and you'll be around a small community of people nurturing it.
Yes, and did you have anything else you wanted to say?
If that's of interest to you, and or you want to put yourself on Allie's mailing list, you can find Courtney, who's raising her hand over there, and please sign up if you haven't already. And that's, I think, what I've got.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So thank you guys so much for coming. I hope to see you all. Thank you, and have a wonderful night.